All right, world. So I'm just gonna start documenting my journey because I feel like I want to document my journey and save the footage for later, but I don't have extra space on my phone, nor do I have extra space like in hard drives or anything. So I'm just gonna start posting things and just have it as an archive for eventual. Okay, so this is me on day. What is today? Is it the 8th? I think it's day 7 then. Yeah, it's day 7 of my raw vegan my take maybe 3 or 4 on a raw vegan life. And I'll tell you what's funny. The first time I went raw was in 2013. It is now 2024. So it's been almost, because that was more in the summer. So it's been like 10 and a half years. Now during that time I've been vegan. There have been a few times when I haven't been vegan. I haven't intentionally eaten meat, except for one time when I had, there's this human grade dog jerky that I was feeding my dogs. And I was like, how does this really taste? I was more curious because I was feeding it to them as like human grade. I was like, is this really? And so I tried like a micro bit of it. That's weird for a vegan to like the one meat they have is to be like a dog food jerky that's human grade. Yeah, I know. It was like the tiny, like I barely anything. But that was very strange. That was an interesting point. That was on like year 8 or something in my vegan life. Mostly I was very militant and didn't have anything. I did have a few times where I slipped up, which I will talk about in other videos. Not really slipped up. It was more I consciously chose to have like a small piece of chocolate cake one time very recently and regretted it completely because my digestion got fucked for a week and I had the most pain I'd ever had in my digestion, which was very interesting. Anyways, so definitely vegan, but yeah, I've been called to be raw vegan ever since I started because I got into veganism through raw food and it really changed my life at that moment. I had this awakening that was beyond like food situation, and so then I got more propelled into like spirituality. My focus became like the consciousness and the awareness and everything. And while that is totally paired with how exactly I was eating vegan for myself, it was very, I called it difficult. Like, I didn't like the resistance that I got from other people, and I just I didn't like drawing attention to myself all the time and it being a thing of this is what people are always mentioning and bringing up to me. I'm just like, can we just get over it? But I didn't get over it was the problem. And so I just got under it and I was like hiding from it. And I was like, no, 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 no. I'll just put it off. But I started having so many things happen with myself where it was just undeniable that I knew the raw would help me reverse because I'd experienced raw before. It wasn't just hearing other people's testimonies. Sometimes it's difficult when we're hearing other people's testimonies, right? And we're like, okay, I can see how that maybe worked for you, but like, does it really work? It's this funny thing, right? Because we are all individuals, and so different things might work for us. Now, what you can hear right now is that starting yeah, so this shirt's really fucked. I just got up. It's like 4 at this point it's like 5, I think. Yeah, it's 5:07. But I woke up at 4:40 and um that's the funny part. So about day 4 being on a raw, I did get cold flu symptoms. Yes, I live in a cold climate and it is starting to be really winter here. But what's funny is that pretty much every time I've gone raw, well, every time I've gone raw that I remember, I always started having sort of cold flu symptoms around day 3 or so, getting rid of a lot of mucus. I think that's something with me, and I will speak a lot about this because there's a lot of subtle things that I've noticed. That I want to get into the subtleties. I think sometimes when I see, or when I've seen a lot of raw videos, sometimes they're a little bit generic for me because it's like, yeah, I know all those good things happen, blah, 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 but like, what exactly do you mean by your skin cleared up? How exactly was your skin? How exactly was this and that? And I want to get into those things because I think they're interesting because you can see what people are saying and why they're saying it. You can see why they say their skin cleared up because they literally saw this X, Y, and Z clear up. This maybe red mark, this blemish, this thing, and it was like there their whole life chronically, and then it went away. So that is very powerful, right? Because a lot of people have surgery for things that they think are chronic or are always going to be there. They have surgery to remove things. But if you can do that naturally, that is very powerful. It might seem subtle once we say it, but it actually is really powerful, right? I'm shaking the camera. I'm really bad at this. But like I said, this is going to be an archive. This is going to be whatever. So yeah, I always got cold flu symptoms. This time's no different. But the interesting part for me, because I work in that subtle energy part where I notice that as well. I'm not just like, oh, I have the cold, so I have cold symptoms. So like, this isn't working for me. I also, no offense, if that's you, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a dick. But I'm going to have to bleep that out. Okay, so... if that's you, no offense. Because I can totally see that because, yeah, on some scale, like, I could say that about myself. Like, is this really working, right? But I woke up at 4:40 and I kind of popped out of bed. That hasn't happened in a while. A long time. Okay? So what I'm saying is my energy starts to rise, but I'm still having these symptoms of mucus leaving my body and everything like that. Like I have energy on one scale, like I can feel this energetic lightness, and yet I'm still having these symptoms. Also, my skin's clearing up, and yet also like I'm having this running of the nose, so it's kind of getting dry, and I'm getting drier, and I'm gonna need more water. Today I've really realized that of like, yes, I want to focus on the foods and getting enough calories as well, and I need to focus on getting a lot of water in right now, because that's just where I'm at with my process. So everybody is, I can see why, I was going to say everybody's different. Everybody, I can see why people who are passionate about how this lifestyle changed them, why they get into coaching people, because you can see how everybody's going to have a slightly different process and need slightly different things. Like for me, I'm enjoying herbal teas as well. That was the one thing that's not technically raw, right? Some people would tell you, no, don't do teas because it's only fruit, because it's only this, because it's only that. I'm sorry. If you are saying it's only this or that, are you solely God? Is this person not also God? Like, please stop. Please stop with the, we only need this or we only need that. You are not everybody's experience. Like, I'm sorry. I get passionate. And it's only because I love everyone and I don't want people to feel like they can't do what's best for them because somebody said, and it's on everybody to have their own sovereignty and to really understand what's happening and to understand where people are coming from when they're speaking. Because when I hear people say things like, don't do herbs, I've never seen herbs work for anybody. Well, I think you're living under a rock a little bit. Like, I think people live under a rock and then they claim that, well, I've never seen it. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're under a rock, honey. Do you know what I mean? Like, I literally yesterday, I understand I still have the symptoms right now, but it's helping me, I don't want to say cope, but it's also helping me to just be able to continue my day and everything. Like, I had an herbal tea yesterday morning and it totally helped me clear up the mucus I was having, the mucus I was experiencing. Now, do I think it's bad to be excreting mucus? No. But I also think it's possible to heal on a more sustainable level as well. I'm not somebody who's just going to be like, well, you should just be having these crazy symptoms and just get through it. Why? Why are we acting like herbal teas are bad? I'm sorry. That to me is like, you're not respecting the wisdom. You're not respecting the wisdom. When people are like, well, because it's cooked. It's like, people have been intuitively led to picking certain herbs and performing certain tasks with them in order to heal. So if you're going to say intuition needs to be negated because it's not natural, it's not healthy, that's getting too rigid. It's getting way too rigid, and it's not allowing for that feminine flow, that feminine wisdom to come in, because the wisdom of spirit is infinite. So it's not just going to be one thing ever. It's not just going to be raw food. It's not just going to be this or that. I'm not saying it's that you'll eat other things besides raw food in your diet. What I'm saying is it's not just a food component. Okay? So that's how I feel about it. And that's the huge disclaimer. Is that that's my perspective that I want to share because somebody might need to hear it for them. Other people will see this and they'll say, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. And that's what's for them because they're not meant to incorporate herbs and they're not meant to do all these things. They're meant to keep it more simple, more more, I don't want to offend anybody because I don't mean it offensively, but people take things offensively, because I think the fruit path is freaking beautiful. Like if you're just eating fruits and that's what's working for you, that's freaking like I mean that. And that's kind of how I started my journey. I definitely had salad as well and stuff like that. But I was very interested in that idea of fruit. Now, do I wholly think that that's all that I'm going to do? I don't think that that's what I'll do, because I like to be much more open, inclusive, more feminine with my flow. That's a very feminine path too, in a sense. But what I'm saying is I'm more interested in like, total alternative paths and total intuition. So if my intuition ever guided me there, that's one thing. But anyways, my point being, it is day 7 on my raw. And so since day 4 of my raw, I've been having these symptoms, right? Yeah, day 4 or 5. Okay, yeah, day 4. And then 5, it really started with like, okay, and I have the sore throat. It's, and the mucus kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really just documenting my journey, and that's where I'm at right now. And like I said, but at the same time, my skin feels better, my energy feels better. I have been slimming down, and I feel like my body looks more natural. It looks like it's not holding more weight. Certain times when I wake up, my skin does look a little dry because I feel like I'm going through this detox. But then once I splash some water in my face, I drink more water, it looks more hydrated than it did before. So it's like this process right now of I'm letting go of a lot of things, and then I'm taking in good stuff and feeling better. Like I said, today is going to be more of a focus on water. I'm definitely going to have to get in calories though, because I am still sort of working regular job, very regular. Like I'll share it on another time what I do. It's not like so crazy or anything. It's a very like basic job in a sense, but it works for me right now in a sense. And I'm just one of the things I will share is that this path, the raw food thing, when I started actually stepping back onto it, and I think my spirit was like, no, you have to do this, without like more signs and synchronicities than like the fact that for 10 years now you've been called back to this path, and you're still watching raw vegan videos only. Like, I don't watch, you know what I mean? I'm still only attracted to the raw vegan path, really. Like, if I were just looking at a regular vegan cooked food channel, or just, like, regular vegan channel, it doesn't really, like, I'm not going to be watching it. I don't watch it on my own time. On my own time, I'm watching raw vegan videos. So it's like, okay, I had to get the clue. And I'll be honest, the New Year's thing did help, because I felt like I was on a very, I could just ramble on forever. Anyways, I was just on a very path of like, I couldn't control myself when I would be eating, like things like tortillas and stuff. I had a soft spot for tortillas and like Italian bread and like just bread. Okay. And that's probably why the mucus is really kind of worse this time than it ever has been, I think. Also, I'll be honest, I never went raw that long. It was so effective for me the first time I went raw that like when I went fully raw, by like day 2, it might have been it was like day 2, if anything. It might have been day 1. I had like a spiritual awakening. So it was very crucial to my path. And what I mean by spiritual awakening was I had awakening to how powerful I am. And so I won't get into all that right now, but yeah, I'll get into that another time. And so with that, from that experience, I did understand that raw was powerful, and I tried it again when I lived in New York City and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I always did have a focus on fruits. I always did have a focus on raw. I always knew that was more healthy and stuff like that. So I was always incorporating those things when I could and how I could. But at dinner time, I would especially kind of gorge out on just whatever processed foods I was having. So, for me, I couldn't, I would have like 10 tortillas, and it would just be a mess, because The thing is too, I could kind of get away with it, but like not really. You know what I mean? I wouldn't feel good. I was starting to have brain issues and starting to feel like clicking in my brain. Now, that's a huge part of how I know I'm feeling better and the energetic component. I'm not having the same issues in my brain. My brain feels more like like sick sort of stuff, but it doesn't have. I was having cracking in my brain or in my head, my skull, where I could like how you like crack your joints and you can hear. I didn't even hear a crack there. That's crazy. It would be like crack, 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 crack from my neck, and also up in my head, I would hear crack, 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 crack. Okay, that's how I knew I had to change. That was huge because I was like, this is scary. I have so many things to talk about. I'm realizing this. Anyways, happy raw, happy day, happy life.